Hello, it's John. It is Friday morning, and I am driving off to see my father, um, who's about an hour and 10 minutes away. And if you can hear the GPS, which I can hear in my ears, or you wonder why I'm pausing sometimes, it's because of that. Um, so, what do I want to talk to you about today? Big changes, and I feel like I've got a lot of time with you to expand in a bit of detail. And this is as much like a vlog for me as it is for anyone. Um, so where do I start with this week? So 26 years, and it's funny. I was thinking, is it really 26 years? It might be 27 years in the software engineering industry. So uh, I started. Back in about 97, I think. It might have been 98, but I think it was 97. And I was a developer back then. And then I went through like a series of like developer jobs and then into management and then running like big software development projects and then big software systems like online banking systems. And that just continued to grow in my with my career. And I managed more and more people. The last couple of jobs were chief technology officer jobs, doing like recruitment for the army and firefighting simulations, and a lot of really super exciting work. Um, and then this last 8 years, so since I was pretty much 40 or 39, um, I was at this big corporate company, and it's a global company, and you will know the name. And so far, I've just avoided saying the name. Like, you can look it up on LinkedIn, you can look me up. It's all pretty public, but it just saves like why. I think there's magic in words, right? Like, why over-index on the company itself? It's not super relevant or super helpful. Um, I mean, it gives some context, but you can look that up yourself. And yeah, so yesterday, big changes. Yesterday, we got to announce to the teams that I'm leaving. Now, the managers that work alongside me and used to work for me, I'd hired many of them. They they knew that I was going to leave by the end of the year, and then through various negotiations, I've decided to leave earlier. Um, and so leaving my last day is on the 30th of April, and as we speak, it's the 29th of March. I have 1 week of um, 1 week of holiday vacation, so I'm going away. Excuse me. I'm going away to with the family to Ben Nevis. So Ben Nevis is the tallest mountain in Scotland, um, and so we're going to go there to the campsite really nearby. So we're going to go there and stay there for 4 nights in our caravan. So that'll be 1 week of um, these driving conditions are really wet, so I'm just going to take my time, and it's a long video, right? Um, so that'll be 1 week, and then I'm back, and then I'll just have 3 weeks, and I only work 3 days a week, so that'll be 9 days plus my last day, which is a Tuesday, so I'll have one more day after that. And yeah, what can I say? Um, we got to tell everyone and that I'm leaving. Initially, a few people were shocked. They were really saddened that I was going. Um, they thought that I would be there forever. Uh, well, I can see the main road that I'm driving on is closed at some point. I don't understand. Uh, I don't even know where it's closed. Um, I get the impression I'm going to take it. Let's take a diversion. Um, but yeah, so I got to tell everyone. A lot of people were shocked and perhaps saddened. And then I remember a couple of people saying, "Oh, uh, you're going to like, I thought you'd be here forever," and just assumed, because I was doing a lot of work, for instance, to help people get more engaged with the office and with each other, and like, meeting people across other teams. There's about 500 people in our Edinburgh office, and so I was working on an initiative to do that, like running events and everything from music to mentoring sessions to whatever it was to help people. So especially people that I work with, they they were, they also thought I was like really invested in making the best for people, and that's lovely because I am really, still really invested in the people. I think the people are just fantastic. They're so lovely. The teams that I created, um, I always like wanted people that were really passionate about both artificial intelligence, like the science and engineering side, but also doing the right thing for people, and that attracts a certain behavior in people, right? Like if you gravitate towards helping each other and helping the world, then it really helps attract people into the team. So that was really cool. And what was I going to say? Yeah, so that was lovely. And I've been thinking about this, I've been thinking about leaving for a couple of years. I say thinking like just being aware of the possibility that I may leave. But I went part time 2 years ago, and I was thinking, well, let's see how that goes because it could work out really well. Maybe I'll have best of both worlds. Um, and it being part time has been, it's been both. It's kind of been two extremes in some respects. It's been like this beautiful luxury, um, opulence of abundance of time, and then it's also been quite intense because we go through this roller coaster every day, 4 days on, 4 days off. Sorry, 4 days on and no, 4 days off and 3 days on. I'm sure none of this is like it's like a Freudian slip, right? It's like I think that's the thing, in particular in the last year, I've been doing like meditation teacher training, reflexology, doing my own meditation sessions for people, and that's really filled up my time. And actually, um, what whilst the income hasn't switched, from my new business to to replace that of my corporate job, and I want to come on to that separately. The energy, in some respects, has because I'm doing, I must easily be working like 60, 70 hours a week across those different jobs and training. The reflexology course, the diploma in that's about halfway, well, coming up for two-thirds the way through, and there's a lot of work to do each week. Um, so I think I was saying that, it's been on my mind, but I wanted to make sure that during the time that I worked there, that I was still really engaged. And I've always been like that. I've always felt like, when you're hired to do something, you've agreed to do something, you've got a contract to do something, like just do it to your best ability and don't like slack off because there's this other kind of timeline of me that, thinks, well, what happens if I do this and then I fail to create, the business or the life that I want. Um, and in that world where I decided to go back to any similar job in the industry, in the software industry, I'd want to like leave on good terms, and I did, and that was really good. Like that was really important to me. And it's funny because we just had like our annual reviews, and mine was good. It was really positive, and lots of lovely feedback from people. People saying things like, "Oh, um, even though John only works 3 days a week, his throughput, productivity of work is just intense. It's so incredible. For those 3 days that I'm there, I often produce more work than other people do an entire 5 days." Um, which it's funny. in part, my ego's like, kind of happy about that. But another part of me is like, I'm learning that productivity is not the primary success measure of my happiness. And that it's lovely and reassuring to know that I can be highly productive. Um, so, yeah, where do I keep going with this? So yeah, also some of the team members said, "Oh, Jon, you're following your dreams. Congratulations! Like you're taking the big leap. You're going to follow your passion." And they can see I'm doing it wholeheartedly. Like I have a family of a wife and two children, a little dog, um, and I also find it funny because there's this um, assumption that because I've been doing my new business for I'd say a year seriously, and probably a couple of years for fun, like really just a hobby with the intention of just being a hobby. They assume that because I've been doing it for a period of time, that somehow I've been able to raise the income of that business, and that running as a sideline would then allow me to switch over to a new my new business easily, and that financially, the transition would be easy, and therefore the actual leap I'm taking would be, not to diminish it, but just to say that it would be easier and less fearful to do it. The reality is, last year, and I did all the maths in about January. Last year, I made just enough money to cover my website and my mailing provider, and they're both hundreds of pounds every year. And you know, there's other fees as well. Like I pay for Zoom. I pay for this service where when you record a session, it's really cool actually. When you record a session on Zoom, it automatically creates a YouTube video from it, and I mean, I think it's like £5 a month, but it's so good. Like that automation is so easy, and you see if you don't have much internet, it's a like a godsend. Um, Plus, what I wanted to do, and I still have this approach now, is when you start your business, um, build it scalable from the start. Always optimize for simplicity and scalability, so that ease and flow of uh, of scalability. And so, for example, someone can go onto the website, they can book a session or book training. The payment is automatic. The website takes the payments. It sets them up with the details they need, and it sends them welcome information. And then all I have to do is, take the money um, to acknowledge. And one thing I do is for every single person, and there's over 222 people now. I love the magic of the numbers, um, which is a whole other thing to talk about. Uh, but yeah, what happened was this really beautiful thing happened where, for the 222 people that have signed up, I just message them and say, "Hi, welcome, it's Jon." And it's funny because I don't think people expect a personal welcome message. Um, and actually, I'm only doing one every, you know, day or a few days at the moment. And I just love I always check to see what have they signed up for? Is it some free training? Have they entered any information? They have they told me what their goals are for their meditation? Um, and then any of that, and I just reflect on it and just say, "Oh, thanks so much. I'm really excited to see you reducing stress and anxiety in the workplace, and really working forwards with that." And that's really exciting to connect with people as a join. Anywho, yeah, scalability and simplicity, um, and So that's made it easier for me to just like run the business, but I also just want to explain the cost. So going back to like the reactions of people in my corporate job, I'd say most thought it was like a pretty crazy bold, leap, um, and that it would be scary for them to do, and that some of them talked about, they had business ideas of their own, but they just focused on their day-to-day salaries work instead, and that was their choice. Uh, and then other people took the opportunity to give me, which is lovely, feedback. They said, John, you're always really calm. Like you have this really calm voice and this really calm energy. And even when things are like, when people are stressed out or in a crisis, like we had a crisis a couple of weeks ago, it's been really beautiful because what we've seen is that, what people saw is that when there's a crisis, I still always put like my self-care, the self-care of others, and humanity, and my behavior first. And it's so simple, right? It's like and I think it's also my belief, my knowing that when you put your self-care and your humanity first, even in a crisis of like an hour or two, um, you absolutely increase your productivity, your attention. You don't burn bridges with people, you don't upset people, or you minimize those things. Um, and yeah, they said, "Oh, John, you're always really calm, just really calming influence, and you're really easy to work with. You're very nice." Um, and they also said I was a very clear thinker, always have great clarity of thought. Um, and I thought that was really lovely. I I don't always feel like that, but perhaps that I feel that has been changing in me. And I said to them, a lot of the change that you've seen in me over recent months, the maturity and the clarity of thoughts and the calm, um, in a crisis behavior, a lot of that's been self work I've been doing on myself. It's funny, like in my spiritual business and the spiritual mentoring business, it's just been working on myself, working on my fears, my self-limiting beliefs. And I said just a few months ago, I was not capable of doing this. I was terrified, and I saw no way. I didn't believe it yet. I didn't believe it, and the belief hadn't become a knowing. And so I'm just going to push this in. It might make a bit of noise. Apologies for the sound. Um, so yeah, and that has changed. You know, incredible mentors like Jenna Holloway, um, who's an intuitive business coach. She also has incredible hypnosis tracks. I listen to her hypnosis tracks every night, and they are reprogramming me, um, and they're really about like self belief and empowerment, and and taking the lead. And it's funny when she would describe it as, when your subconscious is on the same team as you, like you feel like it's a huge transformation. You feel unstoppable, and that's how I feel. Like, the prospect of me, running out of money and being destitute somehow, or like or even just the anxiety of running out of money is so minimal now. And to be fair, I will leave with some good savings, but at the same time, I feel like that will only last so long, and what I will feel is this kind of blending and this merging of my finances with my new business. And as as you would as I would have hoped before I did this, and is now born into reality, is really the moment that I like first said I was leaving, and then negotiated my arrangements to leave, and then I communicate with people every step of the way. It's become both easier in all aspects of my life, and I've also been rewarded. Like the universe keeps giving me new rewards. And it's funny, one thing I would get stuck on is I would think to myself that I had to know every new client somehow, that that they would have to like form some sort of a engagement with me in through free content, and then they would eventually like gravitate towards me and centering a traffic jam. Yeah, that they would like build this up for many years, and then they would end up in a position where, oh, I think the whole road's closed. Well, this would be interesting. Um, well, it is what it is. Yeah, I thought I had to know everyone, for years in advance, and then they would like finally apply and buy things. So when people just appear out of nowhere and start and literally go straight to buy something, like someone bought training for the Higher Self Foundational Training, which is in July. A couple of other people, just came out of nowhere and signed up for the membership group. Um, it's just fabulous. Like, and you then start to develop this knowing that customers come from unexpected places, and that's really cool. Um, so I'm just watching the traffic as we're merging lanes. Um, they're very clearly letting me in, I think. Um, yeah, so that was really lovely. And I don't know, how how can you explain to someone before they before you leave a job that you were terrified? And I said to people at my corporate job, I said, I was terrified. Like, I was literally terrified. I made the odd video about it as well. I remember like going for a dog walk saying, it's just really scary. Like, I'm just so scared. I'm scared I was scared of taking that leap. And I just didn't know what would happen when I took the leap. Um, and in the first time I let my manager know that I was leaving, I remember she was just so incredibly supportive. And that made me feel like I was being held, like I felt held in that moment, and that was just really beautiful. Um, and that moment when you step off the cliff, when you step off the cliff of your what what you think is like stability, you think that somehow the like a monthly salary is holding you, um, and that you're going to be fine while you have a monthly salary, and that it can go on forever. And it's just like a whole load of assumptions that you kind of form this cage around yourself, and so to step out of that cage seems so terrifying. And of course, it's in a company's interest. Um, it's in a company's interest to feel like that, to feel like, well, you know, if people stay in a cage and they don't want to leave, then great. That they would, you know, you have workforce that isn't going to disappear on you. Um, and yet, as humans, like it mystifies me how, and like at what point in my life did I tightly couple, um, did I correlate having a salary and a monthly salary with my self-worth? And I see that a lot, especially in this corporate company I've worked for, is like people's salary and their job title, and there's these levels there as well, even within job titles. Like they people tightly couple the two together. And so when they're working really, really hard as well, and I think there's another dimension, is that people equate, many people equate, and I used to equate working hard to almost like this entitlement, like when you I'm working hard and extra hours and doing all these extra things and making these self-sacrifices, and so I'm entitled to receive more money. Um, and that, those things also aren't true. Like, in fact, none of those dimensions are really true. Working longer hours does not make you more successful. It makes you more tired when you're working, and it means that when you are working, um, I have no idea where this diversion is taking us. It'll be long for sure. Um, but yeah, the working extra hours makes you really tired, and then when you're really tired, your work isn't as good, and having dropping the quality of your work or the energy in it, like the vibration of it, it's not good, right? It's like actually what you want is high vibration, high quality work with energy in it, and that everything you read is like always, it's overcoming the impossible problems and dealing with challenges. And if you just work really hard and exhaust yourself, you tend to kind of become a bit more kind of moany about it, and just annoyed about these things, and they aggravate you, and your writing or your presenting or your talking or your coding or whatever it is becomes sloppier. So yeah, I think that was a really interesting reflection. And the salary part, um, also like believing that the company you work for uh, dictates your self-worth through the salary, and that somehow you're lucky to work for that company because they give you this amount of money. Now, don't get me wrong, I felt very lucky and very filled with gratitude for many years. And I know many people work really, really tough jobs in the world, or some people don't even have jobs, or don't even get paid for what they do, and work extremely hard. And so, I hold space for that, and I don't want to diminish the gratitude that that I have felt and that I feel for that experience. But I think the most dangerous connection between them, this like incorrect kind of human programming, is like of subconsciously believing that the salary is my self-worth. And I think some of this I broke the back of when I went part-time, right? Because I took my salary reduced from 100% of my salary to 60% of my salary, and that big drop was it was really fascinating because like a lot of the opposite things became true. So earning less money made me happier. Less money per month, excuse me, less money per month made me happier. And you wouldn't expect that, right? Working less hours made me happier during the times I wasn't working. During the times I was working, it made me sadder. It made me uh, find it really hard. It did have this effect of like massively increasing my productivity during those hours, but at the same time, um, it made it really hard. And I think, you know, maybe arguably you could say some of this is quite natural, is that people get a bit, they find it hard to work with you when you're part-time. You're not there for a couple of days each week. What are you doing? How far did you get with things? Um, I couldn't, I found it harder to own things for longer periods of time. Um, so anyway, that was that. So yeah, going back to like the taking the leap and the kind of financial side, but it's funny that the money is not. We obsess so much about money because it's like this kind of articulation of so many things in our lives, and it is important. Like to live in a 3D world in this world at this time, it is a huge help to have money. But um, there's also this kind of behavior where a lot of people that win the lottery suddenly become very deeply unhappy because they're it's almost like that umbilical cord of like the association of money equaling or salary equaling happiness, being connected to the two. Um, that somehow you, when you stop that, you become unhappy. You lose like some sort of kind of focus in life, and like that's tough. That's really tough, right? Especially when you're not expecting it. Because I think for me, I knew I was gonna go through like some sort of like transformation. I knew that my body, my subconscious, my mind, my mindset, like it had to change. That I had to break out of these paradigms. But I think if you're just suddenly, if it's just suddenly forced on you, like you can argue, like you don't, you kind of choose to win the lottery. But if you just have millions of pounds like dumped on you, suddenly you haven't gone through all that hard work to like decouple yourself and reprogram yourself, and so suddenly you're left with this really strange situation where you're just like, oh, actually, where's my purpose? Like, what do I do? I can go and buy a bunch of things, but it just makes me really unhappy. What am I going to do with my life? Um, and yeah, that's a really interesting reflection. So yeah, for me, if I talk a bit more about the reprogram as well, I there's still work to do. Like this is what I love about journaling, right? It's like it's just a journey. It's like me letting go of things and excited about things and appreciating things. And and I was saying to a dear friend yesterday, Madalena, who I'm part of her membership group. I was saying that one of my weaknesses is my ability to see all my strengths and or to see how powerful they are. So for example, having a calm voice or having a calm energy around people, and then feeling that is hugely powerful. And yet it's not always obvious to me that that's what I have. And I think when you know that you have a superpower and it's not like accidentally used, when you use it intentionally. So if I intentionally try to calm people, that can be really powerful, right? Like, because I'm good at it. Um, I really don't know where traffic's going to go. Some's going left and some's going right. Um, it seems to suggest I should go left, but then some of it's closed off. It's like my life. How do I take a left or do I take a right? I feel like I should take a right and then drive in through town. Um, yeah, I'm going to do that because I think the GPS doesn't understand the diversion. Um, uh, so yeah, some of the things I'm working on. So that and one person said this to me. He said, "John, there's two things." Oh, sorry. Yeah, my friend Madalena, she was just saying, yeah, really focus on like your superpowers and your abilities. And she was saying to me, we don't know in any given moment like what all of our gifts really are, and we don't know what's coming in and what's developing. But we gradually build awareness of them, and sometimes we have these epiphanies as well, like these moments of like deep clarity, and we can see the opportunity. And some my my friend at work was saying to me, John, you've got like it's almost like there's these two things you're going to that you've been going through and will continue to go through even after you leave the company. One is you're like deprogramming yourself from being part of the software industry, like just full stop, like having a salary, going to work, going to an office, doing the things that you do. Um, and then there's the other side of it that's saying specifically this company has a very kind of an indoctrinated way of, I don't know if that's the right word, but or institutionalized way of doing things from like the leadership principles to the uh, from the leadership principles to the right ways of writing, often the ways of communicating and talking, presenting, like they're all really quite hard set. And what I became very good at them. They were hard. It took me quite a few years to get good. Um, And now they're like a kind of collection of superpowers, but at the same time, they're not the things that some of them will be helpful on the way, but they're not the things that are going to take me, um, to the next level in my new business. So, for example, I can write really well. That's good. But my writing style is very kind of, say, modern corporate is maybe just like a way of describing it, like relatively modern corporate. Um, and I need to like be able to express my personal energy, like my thoughts, my feelings, my exaggerations. You often see me like writing "yay" a lot, and it's like because I say it a lot as well. Um, so there's that side of it, and then the other side of uh, the kind of reprogramming of me includes really being able to let go of like the constructs, um, that my salary will vary each month, that my workload will vary each month, that I can put my self care and my work life balance, I can put it first, and that's also like I feel like it's a huge weapon against one of my like biggest areas for growth, which is like working too hard. Like I find it so hard to not do things. And I think some of this is just a practice. So I'll give you an example, right? So this morning, or actually yesterday, one of my customers was trying to get a discount that they were totally eligible for, applied to a service they'd signed up and they hadn't used the discount. And that's fine. But then they messaged me and said, "Oh, actually, I didn't realize there was a discount. Can I have it applied?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And totally admittedly, I haven't been checking when people sign up whether they've used the discount or not. And you know, you could argue, well, people should know better as customers, but this is not like the old paradigm. I want the new paradigm where we're all honest and truthful, and as much consistency and fairness can be applied as reasonable, within my boundaries. Um, so, so for example, a boundary would be don't give someone a discount after they've expired. Like that's not fair because other people have likely been paying like full prices, and this person's, managed to squeeze in and get a lower price for no good reason. Often they're huge savings, like 30% or 40%. So anyway, yeah, when I had a real reaction, it triggered me a lot when my customer couldn't sign up for the membership group with a discount, and that there was no way for me to change the monthly amount that they paid. And I think it's because as a seller, I'm, through the various different payment systems, I'm not allowed to just start charging more people more money without asking them first, um, which I think is really interesting. And in this case, I couldn't charge them less money, which is really annoying. So, I mean, I could have like changed it for everyone so that I think everyone got charged less in the next month. But it's not really the way things work. Like it's kind of like they get that for life anyway once they sign up. Anywho, my immediate reaction was I wanted to kind of go into overkill mode, which is like really obsess about my customer and have, a page that has all the discounts and that they can easily look them up. And that if we went through all the discounts, they could, it's like a shopping list and they could decide, oh, these are the special offers. These are the things that would be really helpful for me to sign up for and get great value for. Um, and then I thought, actually, like that's a lot of work. Like it might seem easy, but to do anything beyond, just like a little Word doc kind of thing, is that like a static web page of text, which wouldn't be engaging, and I'm not sure how many people would visit it, and it would be quite difficult for me to maintain. Um, I thought, I don't know that that's really helpful. I think it is really helpful to see, to have transparency about the discounts, but there's other ways. And so what I optimized for was, I just said to my client, look, I've made some changes. I've had to cancel your membership so that you can now reapply, and this time you apply your discount, and then you'll be all good. And I gave them a refund of the difference for the first month that they'd paid. Um, so yeah, it was all very complicated, but I'm really drawing out the point that I really felt like it was time for me to, I had a self-care moment. It's like I could spend hours that night and stay up late and build this extra page. And it's like, is it really going to add value for my customers? Is it not better to just like be really transparent on each and every service, like what discounts are available, and then whenever a discount expires, to remove them? And I also aligned them so the same customer said, "Oh, actually, in one place you're saying one discount ends at the end of March, another place you say it's end of April." So my answer to that was, and this was like low effort but like big impact, was I emailed every customer, so all 222, and I said, like, good news. Here's the updated discounts. And I like said it. I was like transparent. I said thank you to the customer that pointed out that, I said March and April for the end of a discount. And so I've gone in and changed it so that it is the end of April. Like just pick, you in the UK, like legally you have to, like, if you advertise two prices, you have to charge the lowest price. Um, and I felt like that was, for me, I felt like that was a good thing to do for a discount as well, like extend it. Plus, as the universe would have it, like there's always patterns to be watching out for and listening out for. And so some of the patterns were, well, first of all, the cool thing is that end of April is when I leave my corporate job, and end of April is when my discounts end. And I'm not saying that, oh, I'm going to earn more money, when my discounts end. Like it doesn't necessarily work like that. It's more that it was like an easy date to remember, that all the discounts are at the same time. And like I love that simplicity, because if you just make these like a kind of wave all at the same time, it becomes like, I don't know, some sort of spring or Easter sale of offers. And that really resonated with me. So I'm going to go into Musselburgh and see what happens. I don't really know if this is any faster or not. Um, but it's physically heading in the right direction towards the right area of the city I'm going to. So yeah, ease, flow, and simplicity. And some of the other, like, I don't know if you're still listening to this or if it's like totally boring you. So some of the other things that I found is that I've been trying to make the higher self foundational training course simple, so that when people sign up, so this is all I want, right? When someone signs up, they get access to the course material. And then when the training starts, they also get access to the free membership, or the premium membership group, for the duration of their training. Um, and then once their training ends, they they can have the option to go on and start paying for the membership group. But oh wow, this is all so incredibly complicated on my website, and also I've been changing the prices each time. Like as my confidence grows, the quality of the training improves. I keep increasing the prices. I have to sign up now before the prices are higher, um, and that's been working well. And people are buying them, right? And that's like, because when you're running these things over and over, uh, you gain momentum, right? Both with yourself and with your customers. So uh, that, that feels totally aligned. And from my market research, it's also like they're still incredibly cheap. Like they're hundreds of pounds cheaper than, I guess, other people offering similar sorts of training. So yeah, there's this really annoying complexity, which is that uh, all these services and everything. I just want it really simple, like, and I think that's something I'm gonna have to reflect on when I'm, sometimes uh, it's better to trade off ease and and having things simpler than it is having such some complexity to achieve the thing you think you want. Because I do feel like the universe is always guiding you to simplicity, and that when you try and kind of force things to happen, that you make, as humans, we make them complicated. Like things, they just, it's like they don't need to be complicated. Um, so, for example, what I might end up doing is that maybe people don't get access to the, excuse me, they don't get access to the membership group, the premium membership group when they're on the training, and instead there's just like a free one that everyone can get access to. Um, and I've been trying to decide whether I'd like keep the free membership um, running or not. And it's I don't know, it's really interesting. There's not really much engagement on it. Um, it it costs a huge amount of money, hundreds of pounds every year to run the site. And previously it was only like two free membership groups. Um, and now I feel like actually this is I feel like actually this is good. I feel like um, having paid is good, but it's just this trade-off. Like, what's the simplest? One paid and one free, um, or just one paid. And of course, it's just one paid. It's much simpler. Um, and unless someone else wanted to run the free membership, um, one of my trusted customers wanted to run it for me, then yeah, I don't. My plan at the moment is to close the free one. But it'd probably mean that for people that join the higher self foundational training, etc., that I would need to maybe create a separate membership group for them. I don't know. Um, but I'm sure I'll figure it out over time. And some of this is also just like learning. Excuse me. Sometimes you need to learn complexity before you can, like, as we'd say at my corporate job, like in invent, like event and simplify it, like event to simplify it. Um, and what I might find is it's just as simple as me having a little diary entry, like in my calendar before, let, oh my God, it's saying I'm going to be half an hour late, another 40 minutes. Um, it's going to take a real long time. Um, so yeah, I'll definitely just like keep going with what I'm doing and see if like I just need to be calendar entries just automatically turn on for people to get access to the membership group, just prior, maybe like the week prior to the training, and then everyone has access. But otherwise, if they get access to the membership group, um, 3 or 4 months before the training starts, they basically get 3 or 4 months membership group access for free, which is one thing which I'm not like kind of you know and part of me is like, well, it's exciting to give them that, and then the other part of me is like, actually what we do in the membership group is quite advanced, and so with having no training for several months does kind of erode your ability to like really connect with it, and like it's harder for people. um but if they want to pay, I feel like they're investing their time in engaging with it, and maybe they're hungry enough that they will be able to get on, with the materials. So yeah, I have also learned that people that pay are hungrier. They're better matching in terms of the energy because they're hungry uh, to want to complete the work, and they're hungry to want to continue with it. And the highest dropouts, I see by far, are people that just do things. Maybe they get a scholarship or they've worked up some referral points or loyalty points, however they've done it. So yeah, part of me feels like I'm just thinking out loud, and maybe I'm boring you slowly to death with all of this. But yeah, going back to the original topic, I feel really excited. I feel really blessed. My May time is going to look at exploring. I'm going to do a little bit of work. Maybe I'll do some of this work during April on the camper van to get it in good shape. Like it really needs the water tank fitted after my father-in-law borrowed it and accidentally tore off the water tank and by grounding it. And then there's also the aspects of doing some travel. So I'd like to do, I think, book like maybe what I could do is once a week in May, go away for 2 nights and choose a place to go and just choose the days to go. And my wife is saying, please take the dog. So he's not an extra burden of like extra dog walks and all that kind of stuff. Um, so yeah, definitely look at that. Um, and yeah, I feel also guided to ask people in my followers and subscribers, just ask them like are the places that I should go because I think it's lovely to have a say about where people go, and I think it would probably open up my mind to these places. Or perhaps I'll do a list of maybe 10 places and then short list what would that be, three, like what's the top three. Yeah, I like that idea. And that way, because people don't really know Scotland and they don't know how far away things are. And sometimes it looks really close, like as the crow flies, it's really close, but actually to drive it, you're hours and hours because you're going through like single tracks and up and down mountains, all these kind of things, through the Highlands especially. So that's a major factor. Um, so that would be fun. Really good fun. And I just feel just doing the journey um, would like have a big impact on me. Um, even if it's just driving for quite some time, and I'm just staying, a couple of places and doing like sightseeing stuff. And it's quite hard when you have a dog because your dog, limits you to the places you can go in and stuff. Um, Even like doing things like going in the supermarket is quite hard because he'd just be like howling, distressed in the camper van. But I can imagine like going away for 2 or 3 days, like maybe it's 2 nights, and the course of travel, both sides of that, and just stocking up my fridge and taking plenty of food with me, so I'm largely self-sufficient for that time. That'd be a lot of fun. So yeah, we'll see. Or there'll be shorter local trips. I don't know which one. Maybe I'll do like one big trip and then some shorter overnights nearby. Um, it's funny. Like I feel like now whenever I visit a place, I tend to get like drawn into much more depth, um, and like have past life recollections and deeper connections with the land and the energy and the stone and the history. So yeah, it's a lot. It's exciting. Anyway, if you've listened to all this, well done. I I feel like I lost myself a few times in the conversation and ended up rabbit holing on annoying things about my website. But I I feel like so much of this vlog is about the just sharing the human experience, right? And I always say that to people that I love watching. I don't care if they're rabbiting on for however long, and they feel like they're unstructured or a bit confused in their expression, because that's the human part, right? The human part is being a bit confused and a bit talking in circles and yabbering on a bit, and sometimes boring ourselves. And with that note, I'm going to finish. I need to let my father know that I'm going to be half an hour late. Oh my God, I'll be an hour and a half to get to his house. So yeah, that's it. I hope this finds you well, and I'm sending so much love from Scotland. Take care. I love you.